Etepu and Namaste. This is Kasank Ma Keperu here with another broadcast for you. And I want to talk about how do you jump to an alternate timeline? And that's really exciting. I'm going to get into some really interesting concepts there. You know, it was funny. Last night I was doing a deep meditation session, and I was trying to basically contact some interdimensional beings, and one actually came through and was trying to get my attention. And I don't know, for some reason I was ignoring him, and to the point of where he yelled out and he was like, "Hey," and he said in this really loud voice. And it was kind of shocking and disturbing, but I've gotten so used to the paranormal that I just kind of like, and I heard it from the back of, right from the back of my neck. I just turned around and said, "Yes." And it was just, I found it a very interesting situation. I don't know if you recall a story I told a little while ago about me and my girlfriend. She came over once and spent the night. And in the middle of the night, the spirit woke her up. And, I think it was about 3 in the morning or so. And let me tell you, she did not react well. She got up and she was screaming. It was not a pleasant experience for her. I had to calm her down and reassure her that everything was okay. But my point is saying this: once you start experiencing these events and going through them, the beginning is very shocking, but after a while, it just becomes like nothing. Oh yeah, I'm time traveling. Oh, that's nothing. Oh, I'm astral projecting. That's nothing. Or I'm going to a parallel timeline. Oh, that's nothing. Because I know when I did the first and only time I did the time travel thing, that really shook me up for a number of months after that. It really bothered me because I started looking at my watch. I wanted to always know what day it was, what year it was, because it was very, it was very disruptive when I found myself in the future. And then when I came back to present day, I was scared I was going to be thrust in the future again. So I was always looking at the calendar. I needed to be reassured what date it was, and it's like being shell-shocked, like you're in the military or war. And anytime you hear a big bang or something, or like a firecracker, you think it's a gunshot, or you think it's a mine or explosion going off, a landmine, So that's that. Now, what I wanted to talk to you about was jumping to alternate timelines, which is something that we all can do. In fact, you're jumping to many different timelines right now. The reason why you might not perceive it is because the timeline that you're jumping to is very similar to the one you're in now, because you don't have enough power to jump to another timeline that's radically different than the one you're in now. So we'll call this timeline, say, for example, Earth Prime, okay? To jump to a timeline where there may be flying cars, you may have laser pistols and stuff like that. To jump to a timeline that has all of that, which we call like a future world, you would have to have a gigantic generating machine, a type of chi or kundalini generating machine that allow you to make that type of jump. You simply just don't have the power. The other way you can do it is do what we call a mass collective agreement. We know that when many people get together, say 1,000 people, 1,000,000 people, and agree upon a certain thing, that collective agreement manifests that reality, okay? And that's what we're experiencing now. The reality that we see before us, the planet Earth is round, we have gravity, there's space, there's stars. All of that is part of the collective agreement, the law, Ma'at, that we all agreed upon in a pre-life agreement before coming to this fourth dimensional plane. We said that we all want to have this collective experience. So how can we have this collective fourth dimensional experience, 3 dimensions of space, 1 dimension of time? We said, well, there needs to be solidity or a ground to stand on. So we're going to agree that there must be, density. There must be third density. And we said that there must be the manifestation of something. So there must be a beginning, middle, and end. So we agree upon time. That there must be this thing called time. And you put that together, you have 4 dimensions, the fourth dimensional realm that we're living in now. So we all agree upon that, and then we all agree that that reality can change according to the belief system of the observer. So what you have now is we are polarized in left brain thinking. So the world began with ancient cultures, and contrary to popular belief by these historians, these archaeologists, the anthropologists, you know, these dingbats in the major universities. Not all of them are dingbats. Some of them are rebels, but they can't get anywhere because they get ostracized anytime they come out with the truth. You know, civilization was very, very advanced. Now, many people look and say, oh, look at the pyramids, the great engineering feats that we did. If that civilization was allowed to thrive, we would have such technology today. And of course, they always look at the technology, but they never look at the most important thing of what the ancient Kemetic or Egyptian people were trying to do, which was ascension. Ascension meaning go from the third density to the fourth density to the fifth density, or third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimension. Of course, the fifth dimension being one of the goals. So what is the fifth dimension? The fifth dimension is the dimension void of time. So linear thinking postulates time as the beginning, middle, and end. Linear thought process. We know that that is a concept, and we know that that is adherent to third and fourth dimension. And the reason that that is the creation process, because for third and fourth dimensions, the creation process has to have a beginning, middle, and end. But for the fifth dimension or fourth or fifth density, you don't have time, so you don't have that process of beginning, middle, and end. That what you want in fifth dimension instantaneously manifests. You think of a banana, the banana just manifests. And part of the process is because the fifth dimension is a kind of like a combination of the combination of the larger overview of things with an individualized view of things. It's a combination of the two. So you have a big picture view, meaning that you collectively perceive everything as one, and you can also perceive everything as the individual, your individual self, or you can experience everything as a collective as one. So there can be no separation. You experience the oneness of all things, which is why a lot of shaman and a lot of priests and priestesses take ayahuasca, which is to get into the fifth dimension and to communicate with interdimensional beings and to experience, more importantly, oneness with all things. Because the illusion of the individuality is an illusion of third and fourth density. All right. Now, the Illuminati, the Cabal, want us to believe that individualism is the true state of humanity and the true state of all that there is. No, individualism is just a state that is a temporary state that Netta, Source, God created to experience itself. But it is not the end all and be all. It is just a temporary state. Now, what I talked about before is the ancient Egyptians who built the wonders of the pyramids and all kinds of other things, that it's not the technology that made the engineering feats that you should hail them for, but the fact that they had reached ascension, that they were traveling through to the fifth dimension experience. They understood oneness. So in the fifth dimension experience, you can have communication with fifth dimensional beings. And that communication will give you information about technology, about advancements. But here's the key, and more importantly, when you're in the fifth dimension, you can scan timelines because there's no separation. Time, space, everything is one. So you can see what's happening on different timelines. So the ancient Egyptians who had ascended to fifth dimension could see what was happening in the future and in the past. And this determined how they would build this civilization to one where it would be worshiping Osir or God man, God woman. Osir was the resurrected one, or the hieroglyphics stood for a man or woman who became God on earth. You understand? So, our goal in this lifetime is ascension. Now, the Illuminati, the Cabal, want to keep us from achieving that ascension, which is why they brought down Egypt. They brought down every major ancient civilization, because this was what their campaign was about in the old world. They did the witch hunts to get rid of the witches, because the women were the first priestesses, And women have a natural ability to tap into the subconscious mind, which gets you into the fifth dimension. All right. So they brought down all these ancient civilizations. Now, how do they do this? They did this by manipulating the timelines. How do you manipulate the timelines? Well, I covered this just a bit earlier. You either could do it, you do it through your belief system, your thought process, which will move you through these different timelines. But you don't have enough power to energize your belief system or your thought process to get you from Earth Prime to the Star Trek or Star Wars future. So you need the collective agreement of everybody to do that, or you need a generator, which would be like a pulse generator or a frequency generator that can send out a frequency of pulse that can go under the radar, kind of like a dog whistle, and affect people's consciousness, and therefore shift people to alternate timelines. And what happens when you shift people to alternate timelines, people start complaining and saying, you know what, things are changing. I don't remember that past. Hence, you have what we call as the Mandela effect. That is what is happening. You have people who are experiencing different pasts. Some people say, I remember Mandela died in prison. No, I remember him dying as president of South Africa. You know, I remember the original Moonraker with Jaws and his girlfriend having the silver teeth. You know, I remember the Berenstain Bears spelled this way, or, you know, and so we're having masses of us in this population are having different memories. That's because the ruling elite is sending out these frequencies that are having us, some of us, shift to alternate realities. You know, as I said before in the previous video, you know, in one reality, Hillary Clinton won the presidency, and some of us shifted to that reality. Others of us shifted to the reality where now we have Trump, all right, as president. Now, these shifts, the ruling elite has found out how to control these jumps, and they have found out how to control these jumps on a quantum level, because on the quantum level, you vibrate. There's vibrations, and vibrations happen when there is a frequency, and these things on the subatomic level vibrate to align to these frequencies. And when that happens, then the matter shifts to that dimension or frequency that it needs to match, and therefore you instantly disappear. You disappear from like Earth Prime, and you reappear into that dimension to match that frequency. Remember, I was talking about in the other videos how you cannot create anything. All that there is already exists. All you need to do is to vibrate to the frequency that where it exists, and match that frequency, and then you will manifest it. Well, you're really not manifesting it. You're just matching yourself that frequency so it can become visible, because there's really nowhere to go. You're not moving anywhere because everything exists in the same time and space. So there's nowhere to go. And that's another thing we have to erroneously get out of there, because we're always thinking using our left brain that there is, you know, beginning, middle, and end, and that we're traveling from point A to point Z. There's no traveling. When you're dealing with the right brain, there is no space. There's nowhere to go. Like when you look out, you see stars, planets. Those are all projections of what's going on in your mind. Those are holographic projections. There is really nothing out there. It's all within your head. Those are synaptic connections, creating the illusion of space. I know it's a hard concept, but it's all in your head. They should create a t-shirt that says that. It's all in your head. You know what I mean? So the Illuminati's goal is to keep you from ascending. Now, so why are we here now? You say, well, you know, I'm into New Age. I'm into the spiritual stuff. Why am I here then? You're here to help others ascend. That's why you're here. You know, we're here at the right time on the dawn of Aquarius to help people ascend. And those people who refuse to ascend are serving the Illuminati's purpose. Do you understand what I'm saying? So me as a spiritual teacher, I'm here to help people to change their ideas and teach them that they have the power to ascend. So when people teach you about third density, fourth density, fifth density, or third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimension, what they really should be telling you is not that these dimensions are frequencies or these dimensions are perspectives, but that these dimensions are different realms of power. Third density, you don't have as much power. Fourth density, you don't have much power. Fifth density, you are powerful because you shed the limitations of third and fourth density. Those who practice hip hop, rap, the music and frequency is of earth density. So they are powerless because they are rooted in Gaia, in earthly things. But when you raise your frequency, you go to the fifth and sixth dimensions or density, and therefore you are not subject to time and space. So you are very powerful, and therefore you become altruistic in your endeavors and what you do, because in those experience in fifth dimension, you have a connection. You are one with all things. And here's another thing. You are also connected to a mate, meaning that you're not looking to find a soulmate. You are connected to someone. There is a symbiotic relationship already there. So there's no looking, there's no longing for someone. You are already complete, you know? And there's a harmony and a love that already exists in that state. So it's the state of abundance. So you're not shortchanged. There's nothing. And if you know anything, one of the reasons why the Cabal Illuminati act in the evil way that they do is because they have a gaping hole within them that they feel that needs to be filled. And they're constantly searching for something to fill that hole or to distract them. And that is a property of third and fourth dimension, that you have feelings, and part of those feelings are not being complete or wanting or feeling lacking. And in fourth dimension, that feeling does not exist because all that there is already exists in those dimensions. So the feeling is, as the I Ching says, the 55th hexagram, abundance. Abundance. This is why fifth dimensional beings understand a fundamental principle that we in fourth and third dimensions don't. And that is that you don't have to fight for resources. We don't have to invade Africa and rape the countries there of natural resources, because God, Netzer Source, created everything we need. We just need to learn how to tap into it. This is the primary reason why they act in the way they do, because they are trapped in fourth dimensional thinking. And they want to keep the masses of us trapped here with them, so they don't want us to ascend. So they're going to pump out frequencies that keep us trapped in fourth dimensional thinking, which is left brain reptilian thinking, so that we never ascend. The music that's pumped out through mainstream media will be of lower frequency, hip hop, rap, rock, you know, very base, animalistic, instinctive music. What they do is they put symbols, iconography out there that will stimulate the subconscious mind to have certain thoughts and beliefs, and those beliefs and those thoughts. See, what gets you jumping from different timelines is your belief system. And when you act upon those belief systems, when you make a choice, you are jumping to the different timelines. Now, as I said, motion itself is an indication that you are already moving, all right? That you're doing the quantum leaps. And your belief system, your core belief system, makes the determination of where you're going, all right? If you have a core belief system that is of a higher vibration in the frequency, you will ascend. If it's of a lower vibrational frequency, you won't ascend. You'll be caught in third and fourth dimensional thinking. Lower fourth dimensional thinking, there's a higher fourth dimensional thinking. All right. So, but the great thing about it is, as I said before, third, fourth, and fifth is all about power. you should be looking at gaining power to become Osir or to reach fifth dimension ascension. Now, you can control what timeline you end up. One of the things you can do is work with the tarot. And the tarot is a beautiful way. It's a divination system that allows you to scan different future possibilities and decide where you want to go. The other way that you can control the timeline that you end up in is to look at your beliefs. Think about the beliefs that you have. Do you have limiting beliefs? Do your beliefs tell you you can't achieve certain things? Because if you do have a belief like that, then you know you're going to end up in third and fourth dimension, lower fourth dimension. If you have a belief that you are God, man, God, woman, that you know, then you know you're headed toward fifth dimension ascension. So think about that. You should always be striving for self-empowerment, and altruistic goals. You should never, never, ever be looking for someone else like a savior to get you out of your situation. You should always hold yourself accountable and understand that God has endowed you with everything that you need to get by in this fourth dimensional experience. And that's all that it is. It's an experience, and it's Maya. It's an illusion. The ruling elite, the Illuminati, has cast a hypnosis spell on you to make you believe that this fourth dimension is real. It is not real. It is a holographic projection. It is a hypnotic state. They have fed you post-hypnotic suggestions to make you believe that what you see around you is solid. It's real. It is not. If you remove the judgments, the beliefs that you have, if you were to truly remove all of that, you would find that there's something beyond the veil, that you would pull back the curtain and you would see the Wizard of Oz. And it would shock you. You would come out of the matrix. So understand that all that you see around you is merely symbols of the beliefs that are within you. The mailbox is nothing but a symbol. It doesn't represent reality at all. The dog is a symbol. It's not reality. The plane is a symbol. The building, your boss, is a symbol. And you control these things. Try and change. Try this experiment. Change your belief system. Change your belief system and watch how the people in your immediate circle will change to align with your very belief system. Talk about a baseball team. Change the team that you like and watch how your friends, your boss will suddenly maybe change to favor the team that you like as well. That lets you know that it is a fabricated, manufactured reality, one that you create. Carl Jung called this synchronicity. You are manifesting it. You are jumping timelines. You are moving to a timeline where what you want exists. There's infinite timelines, infinite timelines. If I say I would love a teapot that's green, and if I focus on a green teapot, and that becomes an obsession, a dominant thought, I'm going to leap into a timeline to where eventually somebody will give me, and this is the best time of the year, Christmas, a green teapot. It's going to happen. Now, again, call it synchronicity, which is the term Carl Jung coined, or call it quantum leaping, call it timeline jumping, whatever you want. But it's your power that you have within you. But this world of the prestigious universities, Harvard and Yale, and these academic scientists who only left brain retards, because they can't use their right brain, and the left brain only thinks concretely, can't postulate, the only thing that exists is reality is just what you can feel, hear, and see. The metaphysical world does not exist, so saith I. I am Philip J.K. III. Yes, I will accept my Nobel Peace Prize. What is that? What are you saying? The the ancient tribal warriors said that everything is an illusion and is Maya. Oh, well, we have just discovered in my academic research that all things are holographic. Yes, I will accept the prize for my discovery. Oh, those native tribes, yeah, I don't know. I didn't hear anything from them. Yeah. So, you know, you have these Western scholars who are getting these Nobel Prizes for their so-called research and discoveries, when they damn well know that ancient tribal people knew this information all along, and they heard it from them. Freud studied ancient Egyptian psychology. So where did you get the id, superego, and all that stuff from? Carl Jung studied ancient Egyptian culture and so-called primitive culture. Carl Sagan studied Egyptian culture. In fact, he refused to believe that the Dogons were master astronomers. He refused. He couldn't accept it that they were able to discover stars without a telescope. He refused to believe it. And in fact, before he died, he had stated that they had to have help. That someone had to help him in discovering stars, which was basically a racist statement on his part. Because they cannot accept the fact that history, our history, was one of a very advanced moral civilization that was a timeline that was corrupted by the ruling elite, the cabal, because they didn't want us to ascend. They didn't want us to get to fourth dimension. And that has been their goal ever since, to keep us from the realization and knowledge of our power that is within us. They don't want us to understand that we can time travel. They don't want us to understand that we can astral project. They don't want to understand. They don't want us to understand that we are consciousness and that there is no reality in front of us, that we create the reality. They don't want us to understand that we don't die, that who you are, consciousness, has always been. There was never a beginning, and there never will be an end to consciousness. It will always be. And that the Big Bang is a bunch of bullpucky. They don't want you to know that. So they feed you this junk science, and then they call New Age junk, because they don't want you to start to get into the science of self. Start to understand that you control your destiny. You control what timeline you end up. You control your ability to travel to the future and travel to the past, because all, as Ma'at says, time, past, present, and future, all is one. And we know this because the fifth dimension tells us this. So what I'm saying to you, brothers and sisters, that there's no race. There's no black, there's no white, there's no Asian, there's no Latino. We're all consciousness. And the body is the vehicle. And the vehicle is only here because we're in third, fourth dimension. But when we ascend, which should be all of our goal, when we ascend to fifth dimension, we shed the body and we become one with all things and gain power to manifest anything we want. And there's no lacking. There's no lacking. So I hope that you take this message. Please share it with others to start this revolution and the revolution of the mind. And please know that I am not one of these teachers or these lecturers that goes around talking about names and dates and say, oh, this person is a member of the cabal and I'm exposing this, I'm exposing that. Because those individuals who do those lectures and expose these names and tell you what the problem is, all they're doing is just stating facts. But they can never give you solutions. They can never tell you, how do you tune into the fifth dimension? How do you tune into a certain frequency? How do you quantum leap? They can't tell you that, because you need a sage or a guide to teach you how to do these things. And if the person that you're going, it's fine to go to their lectures, it's fine to pay the money for their tapes and CDs or whatever, but if they can't teach you how to get this power, then they're not worth anything. Because great, so what? You told me, that the royal family is involved in satanic acts. Great, but how do I access my power so that I can deal with them? How can I quantum leap to a new timeline, to a parallel universe? Teach me that. And if they can't teach you that, what good are they? But they're making their money off intellectual masturbation because they sound good telling you things that are shocking to you, such as there's a pedophile ring, and there's Pizzagate, and the children are being kidnapped and raped. Oh, it's shocking, yes. But tell me, how can I access my power to stop this? What can I do? And if they can't teach you to become God man, God woman, then they're shortchanging you. So please, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, help me get the word out, share it with family and friends. And until my next broadcast, this is Gasak Mahakeparu, and Amun Ra.